everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing individual first impression videos on each of the palettes that are in the vault. I'm actually going to be doing a review on each of the palettes, show you guys my first impressions on the palette, and also letting you guys know what I thought about the palette. And the first palette I'm going to be taking is the first palette that's on top of the vault here, and it's the Ring the Alarm palette. This is what the inside looks like. So I am going to again do a first impressions on this. I have not used these, I have not swatched them or anything like that. Well, now I'm filming my intro, I've obviously used them on my eyes already, but it's definitely a first impressions review. I also will include swatches on this palette, so if you guys are interested to see my first impressions on this palette and also see swatches and my thoughts, just keep on watching. But first, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and let's just jump right in. So I did pick up the Vault palette, as you can see here, or the Vault I should say, which has all four of the palettes. This is what the box it comes with looks like. I like that it has this little ribbon right here to pull out the palettes. So it does come again with Ring the Alarm, Bling Boss, Armed and Gorgeous, and Dark Magic. So the first palette I'm going to be reviewing and doing a look on and also swatching for you guys is Ring the Alarm, which is the more warm tone shade palette, and this is what that looks like right here. First thing off the bat, what I already noticed is that there is no like brow bone highlight or set your brow bone shade in this palette. So if you do plan on just picking this up, you are going to need another palette besides this one, is my first impressions just looking at it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I already did prime my eyelids and set them as well. So the first color I'm going to take is the shade Rush, which is the lighter orangey shade that's in this palette. And I'm just going to dip my brush in here a few times. I don't see any kickback yet or anything. My brush is coated. There's no kickback, as you can see. So far so good. I'm honestly kind of nervous to use these because I've just seen like really mixed reviews, and there's been more negative than positive that I've seen. But as of right now, this color is blending out okay. I don't see any issues with this color or anything like that. And it's also building up really nicely. So the next shade I'm going to be taking in this palette is the shade called Alert. This one over here. I'm going to be taking the same brush that I was using and just applying it in my crease as well, just to deepen it up a little bit. I do find that Alert is like a deeper version of Rush, and it's a little more orangey, so this will be perfect to deepen it up the crease a little bit more. I do find that that the formula is a little drier than the actual Jaclyn Hill palette, and I do find myself dipping back into the shadow more often, because I used the original Jaclyn Hill palette in my Shop My Stash this week, and I used it like 5-6 days straight, and I can tell a difference on the formula. I feel like I just have to dip my brush back into the shadow more often than I did in the Jaclyn Hill palette. But nothing bad. I like that there's no kickback, if any, at all in my palette right now. So again, I don't see any patchiness. See, what shade should we take? I think I'm going to go in with the shade called Mugshot down here and just deepening it up a little more. Again, dipping my brush in there, and there's very little kickback, and my brush does have some shadow in it. So again, just putting it in my crease here. This shade, I do find that it's a little patchy, like right here. I don't know if you guys can tell, like the color's not really grabbing on right there. So I feel like maybe I just need to pack more color right there. So for my outer corners, I'm going to be taking the shade called Framed, which is this purple color right there. And I'm going to be packing that on my outer corners. And again, my brush is starting to kind of coat. I don't see very much kickback, if any. Let's see. Doesn't look like it's grabbing the color. It looks a little patchy. Can you guys tell? I don't know if it's just the way I'm blending it. So this is a Coastal Scents just brush. I'm gonna go in with this Morphe. It's more like not so fluffy. I'm gonna go in with that color and just deepening it up out here, packing on the color because that brush might just be a little too fluffy for this shade. It is building it up. I feel like I see some skips on my eyelid. I'm going to take my fluffy brush again and just kind of try to blend out any harsh lines just because it's looking a little harsh. I'm going to take a little bit of the Alert shade that's over here also just to kind of help it blend out. So I was finding using this Morphe smaller brush, it's helping to kind of pack on this color a little better than the Coastal Scents brush. I wanted to show you guys the difference. The Coastal Scents brush is kind of fluffier, but this Morphe brush is kind of like smaller and compact. I don't know, I just feel like this brush is doing a better job. So my crease, it's this purple, dark purple color. It looks a little patchy, so I'm just trying to, no additional product, whatever is left on this brush. I'm just kind of trying to blend it out, like the little skips that I have, but it's kind of taking off the color as well. I'm gonna go back in with my Morphe brush with the framed purple shade that I packed out here just to kind of revive this color a little bit again. I feel like really blending out that crease, it helped to kind of get rid of like the little skips. You can still kind of see a little bit of the skips there, but not as bad as it was when I first applied it. So I was going to do the other eye off of camera, and all I did was do 2 dips, and then I tried to pack it out here, and it doesn't really have much color. Like, it's really light. So kind of a good and bad thing. It helps like for us to kind of build it up and like be able to blend it out. But like that's a really dark color for it not to really have a lot of pigmentation. And then I'm also noticing that just doing the 2 dips in my color and then trying to blend it out, it's kind of helping it not to be as patchy. So maybe you need to just go a little light-handed to avoid like the patchiness. Okay, so I cut my crease off of camera and I'm going to be taking a shade called Lolly. It looks like a duochrome, like a pinkish yellow duochrome. What I'm going to be doing is packing on the color with a flat brush on the lid without wetting it. I'm just going to pack my brush in there, apply it on, and then if we need to spray the brush, we will. I just want to see what the pigmentation is like without wetting the brush first. So I'm really going ham because I'm going to give it a try. This is how I usually do it anyways with any other brush. So now I'm just going to pack it on. So I have some color on my lid. I feel like I am going into the palette like a lot to try to get this pigmentation, and then it's starting to kind of like get hard to pick up kind of because I don't see very much color on my brush. The color is really pretty though. So I'm going to go ahead again and pack my brush, and I'm going to spray it with some MAC Fix Plus and then apply it to the lid and see if it does anything differently. Oh yeah, it intensifies it more. It's a really pretty color. So now I'm going to take that brush that I used in my outer corners and kind of just smooth out these edges so it doesn't look super harsh. I'm going to go into the framed shade, which is the dark purple. Rock this lightly to kind of blend the edges. So I definitely need a brow bone highlight shade, and I'm just going to be taking this one. This is just a palette that's here sitting on my desk, and I'm going to go in with light color to highlight my brow bone. And then I'm going to go in with my fluffy brush again and just kind of smooth out any harsh lines that I may have. And I didn't apply any color. I'm just taking whatever's on the brush and just kind of blending it all out. So I'm going to finish off the rest of my face, and I'll be right back to review this palette for you guys, let you know what I think about it, and also include some swatches on this Ring the Alarm palette. So I am all done and put together here. If you're wondering what's on my lips, it's this Bare Minerals. It's a matte lipstick in the shade Boss. And then for lashes, I just took these Eylure lashes. These are Luxe Mink Effect lashes in the style Baroque. I also did, off of camera, I did apply this shade in my inner corners just because I felt like it was a little bare. So I figured I could add something, and I just used this shade on camera. I did find that it was okay. I didn't wet it or anything, so maybe I should just do that on camera. So I'm just packing some on my brush here. Gonna spray it and apply right here and see if I notice anything different really. And it does look a little brighter, but so I did just go ahead and do swatches on all of these shades that are in here. As you can see, they're in my arm, but I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen. For all of these swatches, I actually did swirl my finger in 4 times. I went around 4 times on each color. The shimmer shades did feel a little smoother, obviously, than the matte shades, but nothing too, like, way better than the matte shades. Like, as you can see, the last 2 colors, Framed and Secret, the last 2 shades did not swatch good at all. And then I did have troubles with Framed. This color right here, I had troubles with that color when I was packing it out here. I do find that it is a little hard to work with. It's not as smooth and buttery as her palette, the Jaclyn Hill palette, the white packaging one, because she does have an original Jaclyn Hill palette that came out years ago, but we're talking about the white packaging one. This formula, I do find that is different from that formula. It's not the same. Even the shimmers, like, they're not the same as the white packaging formula. But overall, I do like this palette. It's a little harder to work with, but it's just kind of like testing your makeup skills, you know? I do like this palette. Would I recommend it? Yes and no. I don't know, like, I like it, but it's not like, oh my gosh, it's amazing, you guys need to go run and get it type of palette. I love like the color combination that I ended up with. It's really beautiful look, but I don't know, I'm not like wowed by this palette. I do like that it's small and compact. It's great for traveling. I actually don't really use a lot my Jaclyn Hill palette just because I just feel like it's too bulky, and then for traveling, for sure, I don't even take it traveling with me. It's just too big for my liking. I like how small and compact these ones are. So this is the first palette that I'm using from the whole vault. I'm gonna try to film like back-to-back videos, but overall, what do I think about this palette? It's nice. It is patchy. I did find it a little harder to work with, and I don't know, I just need to use it more. But first impressions, again, this one was patchy, and on my swatch, again, last 2 of the darker shades, it's patchy. And again, I swirled my finger in 4 times. Well, I'm not super sad I picked this up. I don't regret picking this up yet. Just I haven't used all of the palettes yet, but first impressions on the first palette, Ring the Alarm palette, I don't regret picking up the vault so far. It is, again, hard to work with, but I do see myself using this palette again. I feel like it's gonna be a little hard for like beginners, just because you really have to take your time when applying the colors and really kind of blend it out. And I kind of like that also, is that they're not super pigmented, that it's hard to blend out, but they are like to the point where it is kind of hard to blend out. They're not pigmented, but it is hard to blend out just because they're patchy. So I don't know, I just have really mixed feelings about this palette, but I think my look is beautiful. I really like the look that I created using this palette. I'd say if you're a beginner, I probably wouldn't recommend this palette, but if you are like me, where you can do an eye look and you're not a beginner at makeup, I say go ahead and pick it up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review of my first impressions on this Ring the Alarm palette. If you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Please also subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!